You know, if you've ever found yourself making the same trading mistakes over and over and over again, feeling like you're just stuck in a loop you can't break, then you are in exactly the right place. We're going to dive deep into the psychology behind why that happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
This comes straight from a trader on Reddit. It's just a raw, honest confession. After 2 years in the markets, they felt like they were right back at square one. And it's a feeling that's probably painfully familiar to a lot of us. It all started with just one unplanned trade. And then things just completely spiraled. But how bad did it get?
42. That's how many trades this person placed in a single day. Not a week, not a month. 1 day. Now, this wasn't part of some high-frequency strategy. Nope. It was a desperate, emotional scramble to try and recover from that first loss. And believe me, there's a name for this. It's called revenge trading. It's what happens when your emotions completely hijack your brain. You take a loss, and instead of taking a step back, you just dive right back in, placing these impulsive trades, trying to win back the money you lost. And as this trader found out the hard way, it's just a fast track to digging an even deeper hole. You see, this story gets to the heart of a fundamental truth about trading. We spend so much time thinking the market is our opponent, right? But the reality is, it's much more personal than that. The biggest, most unpredictable enemy you will ever face isn't on a chart. It's right between your ears. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? That trader on Reddit, they had a strategy. They knew the rules. So why does this keep happening? Why is it that even when we know exactly what we should be doing, our brain seems to sabotage our best intentions the second things get heated?
Well, here's what's so important to get. These aren't just personal failures. It's not because you lack discipline. These mistakes are actually rooted in predictable, well-documented bugs in our human operating system. They're psychological traps that get pretty much everyone.
Okay, so at the very core of this is a concept called ego depletion. The easiest way to think about it is this. Your self-control is like a phone battery. Every single decision you make, analyzing charts, managing stress, even just resisting the urge to check your phone, it drains that battery. And when it gets low, your ability to make rational, disciplined decisions just completely plummets.
Now, this slide is just a brilliant illustration of this, even though it has nothing to do with trading. Look at this graph. Researchers looked at over 1,000 parole hearings, and what they found was staggering. At the beginning of a session, a prisoner's chance of getting parole was about 65%. But as the day wore on, that chance dropped to nearly zero right before a break. As the judge's mental batteries got drained, they just defaulted to the easier, safer decision, just say no. Sound familiar?
And get this, it's not just our decision-making that's flawed, it's our actual perception. Just take a close look at this slide. I'll give you a second. See it? The squares labeled A and B, they are the exact same shade of gray. I know, it's totally wild, it's hard to believe, but your brain, because it's processing the shadow, insists that B is lighter. It just goes to show you that the simple advice to trade what you see is way harder than it sounds when your own mind is literally changing the picture on you. So if we're basically hardwired for these kinds of mistakes, how do we possibly win? Well, the answer isn't to go hunting for some perfect, flawless strategy. It's to build a really robust internal system to manage our own psychology. And the first step is learning how to become your own trading coach. Our brains, they love running on autopilot. They love taking those emotional shortcuts. To break that cycle, we have to be intentional about it. We have to fight back with a structured, conscious process of self-assessment. And that all starts by asking ourselves some pretty tough, targeted questions.
So let's start with this one. And don't just give yourself a quick, easy answer. Really think about it. At what specific point does the calm logic of your plan just disappear, and that feeling of panic or frustration take over? Pinpointing that trigger, that's the first step to disarming it. Here's another really powerful one. Is the sting of a loss way more intense for you than the pleasure of an equal-sized win? Now be honest. For almost everyone, the answer is a huge yes. This is a famous bias called loss aversion, and being brutally honest about how it affects you is absolutely critical to making more rational choices. And these questions, they're not random. They are specifically designed to make you look at the 3 pillars of your trading:
the logic of your strategy, your emotional reaction to losses, and your overarching mindset. This right here, this is the framework for rebuilding your psychological edge.
Okay, so asking the right questions is the what, but we also need a how. We need a practical, everyday tool to track our answers, to spot the patterns in our own behavior, and to create a cycle of continuous improvement. This is where we build the ultimate feedback loop for ourselves.
This quote from Warren Buffett, it just says it all. It's not enough to know that psychological storms are going to happen in trading. They are inevitable. You have to actively build a tool to help you weather them. And for a trader, that tool, that arc, is your trading journal.
And let's be crystal clear about this. It doesn't matter if you're using a fancy piece of software or just a spiral notebook. The real power isn't in the format. It's in the consistent, non-negotiable habit of planning, recording, and reflecting on your actions when you're not in the heat of the moment.
A really effective journaling process can be this simple. Step 1, a pre-market review. This is where you set your intentions before any emotion gets involved. 2, trade monitoring. This is just the objective log of what actually happened. And 3, the after-market review. And this is where the real learning happens, when you can look back honestly without the pressure of a live market.
So how does this all come together? Now that we've got our two core tools, right? We have structured self-questioning and we have a systematic journal. The real magic, though, is how they work together to help you conquer not the financial markets, but your own inner market.
So here's the key. Think of it like this. The self-coaching questions give you the framework. They tell you what you need to be thinking about. The trading journal, on the other hand, provides the system. That's the how and the when to track your thoughts and actions. One gives you the insight, the other builds the discipline. Together, they create this incredibly powerful system for self-mastery.
This is a version of a quote from Sir Edmund Hillary after he was the first person to conquer Mount Everest. He realized the true battle was never against the mountain itself. It was against his own limitations, his own fears, his own doubts. And for traders, man, that sentiment is exactly the same.
And this really is the ultimate takeaway. So many traders spend years and years searching for the perfect external system. But the pros, they know that true consistent success doesn't come from mastering the market, it comes from mastering yourself. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Forget about tomorrow or next week for a second. What is the one small, actionable thing you can commit to doing right now, today, to start building that arc and becoming your own best trading coach?